Merrick Frostvein. In the quiet valley of Vostok, where the river ran slow and the evenings were lit by the soft glow of oil lamps, Merrick Frostvein, known among the townsfolk as the Midnight Alchemist, tended his modest laboratory. Surrounded by copper retorts and shelves of dried herbs, he spent his nights seeking a formula that could lift the weight of sorrow from a heart, a potion that would make the very notion of gravity a metaphor rather than a law. Though his work was praised for its subtle brilliance, Merrick's core desire was simple yet profound: to create a miracle that would allow a soul to rise, unbound, like a feather in a summer wind. One twilight, as the first stars pierced the dusky sky, a caravan of lanterns rolled into the valley, announcing the arrival of the gravity-defying carnival. The air filled with the scent of caramelized sugar and the distant hum of a contraption that seemed to pull the moon itself upward. The ringmaster, a silver-haired man named Maestro Vortigern, proclaimed a challenge. Anyone who could match the carnival's marvels would be granted a single wish. The promise of a stage where gravity bowed to imagination struck a chord in Merrick's heart, and the carnival's call rang like a bell of destiny. Yet Merrick hesitated. The thought of leaving his familiar lab, of exposing his fragile experiments to the chaotic spectacle, filled him with dread. He recalled the countless nights spent in solitary contemplation, the fragile balance of his delicate brews, and the fear that the carnival's wild energies might shatter his life's work. Doubt whispered that perhaps his destiny lay within the quiet walls of his study, not amidst the roaring crowds and impossible feats. When the midnight bell tolled, Merrick found himself standing before the towering tent whose roof floated several meters above the ground, held aloft by unseen forces. With a breath that tasted of iron and resolve, he stepped through the crimson curtains, feeling the world tilt as the ground beneath his boots seemed to loosen its grip. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, the ordinary world fell away, and he entered a realm where performers walked on air, and the very notion of up and down was a question posed to the heavens. Within the carnival, Merrick encountered allies as extraordinary as the acts themselves. Lyra, a live tightrope walker whose steps sang with the wind, offered him a silver thread that could bind a falling star. Gavriel, a gentle strong man with eyes like polished amber, shared the secret of harnessing kinetic energy from the crowd's applause. Under their guidance, Merrick learned to infuse his alchemical mixtures with the carnival's levitating essence, crafting vials that shimmered with a light that refused to stay grounded. But the midway of his journey brought a crisis that shattered his confidence. During a grand performance, Merrick attempted to amplify the levitation of a floating pavilion with his newest elixir. The potion, miscalculated, released a surge that tore the tent's support, sending the structure crashing into the earth. The audience gasped, the performers stumbled, and Merrick watched in horror as his own creation turned against him. The failure forced him to confront the bitter truth that his desire to defy gravity might also bind him to ruin. In the darkest hour that followed, the carnival mourned. Lyra, who had trusted Merrick's potion to steady her walk, slipped and fell, her silver thread snapping, leaving her bruised and broken. The loss of her graceful presence weighed heavily on Merrick's soul, and the once vibrant tent seemed to sag under an unseen sorrow. He felt the crushing weight of his own inadequacy, as if the very ground beneath him had reclaimed its dominion. Yet from the ashes of despair rose a decisive moment. Maestro Vortigern, his eyes reflecting the flicker of countless lanterns, challenged Merrick to a final duel of creation to restore the carnival's wonder without surrendering to the same hubris. Drawing upon the lessons of his allies, Merrick combined the silver thread, the amber energy, and his own alchemical knowledge to forge a new elixir, one that did not merely lift objects, but lifted intentions. In a climactic display, he poured the potion into the heart of the fallen tent, and the structure rose, not by force, but by a collective belief that the impossible could be embraced. When the last lantern dimmed, Merrick stood at the edge of the carnival, the valley below bathed in a gentle, weightless glow. He returned to his laboratory, but the walls no longer felt confining. They were now a canvas for the gravity-defying wonder he had witnessed. The townsfolk spoke of his miracle, and Merrick understood that his true transformation was not in mastering the laws of physics, but in learning that the heart, when unburdened, can rise above any earthly tether. The equilibrium he achieved was a balance between the quiet of his study and the soaring spirit of the carnival, a harmony that would guide his alchemy for years to come.